Hey, everybody, welcome to Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. George Tsoulianos and brought to you by his books. The first one, Bodybuilding, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, gives you an excellent overview of all the PEDs used in our sport, cycles, side effects, everything you need to know. And then last year, he came out with the sequel, Training, Nutrition, Supplementation in Bodybuilding, so you can put all that together and get the best physique possible. And if you're on Amazon.com getting that, go ahead and get Real Bodybuilding. Yes, Fouad has a show called Real Bodybuilding, but this was long before that, Real Bodybuilding. Anyway, please welcome from Athens, Greece, Dr. George Tsoulianos. Welcome, George.
Hello, Ron. Thank you. How's it going over there?
Very good, very good. We're not going to speculate, but I did want to say my deepest condolences to the family and friends of Andy Hammond, pro bodybuilder. Did you ever get to meet Andy at any of the expos?
Never know, but my friend Rick Collins had the chance of meeting him, you know.
Good guy, good guy.
Yeah, I heard he took the card in his 40s in his masters.
Yeah, he turned pro and back in 2007, I think it was, at the Masters Nationals. Yeah, but he was more
big. He looked big and muscular all the time. You know, he was in shape.
He used to go as Mr. Incredible at the expos. He'd have the mask and the costumes. He was a funny guy. He was so cool. He had smiles and laughs, and he was just a lot of positive energy. One of the good guys. Father of four. So my heart goes out to those kids and his widow. It's too bad. I heard he was only 54. That's not old.
No, he looked phenomenal.
Yeah, he looked great every time I saw him. But yeah, rest in peace. Sorry to hear that. It's terrible. Let's get to 10 questions. We had a perfect number of questions this week, Doctor. 10. We should always stick with 10. But before we start the questions, guys, leave the questions, please, in the comments under these videos. I got one of my Instagram direct messages. Don't do that, guys. Please leave them right here in the comments so everyone can see them and the doctor can see them in advance. Just easier. But let's kick it off with question number 1, Doctor. What supplements would you recommend to hasten recovery, I think he should have said, after shoulder arthroscopy? The patient is an active woman, 43 years old. Is it worth using ostarine or BPC-157, whatever that is?
No, I don't think about ostarine, but I'm thinking about BPC 157 that works synergistically with IGF-1 or growth hormone, TB500 also, and then the regular supplements, glucosamine, chondroitin, hyaluronic acid, liquid, of course, liquid hydrolyzed collagen, chondroitin, glucosamine, ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C, and turmeric also, and DHA, EPA, so omega-3.
Wow.
This whole stack of materials, yes.
What about does growth hormone, does that speed up recovery after surgery?
Yes, of course, through IGF-1 production, then IGF-1 leads to chondroblastic activity. That means the premature cells that form the connective tissue, chondroblast is coming from Greek word chondros, that means cartilage.
Yeah.
So it forms cartilage, yes.
Okay, cool. For my next question, before I even read the question, I need to know what is Ketofifen? What is that?
Ketotifen is, it's actually, the generic name is Zaditen. It's anti-asthmatic drug that helps to unblock and unlock the saturation of the receptors, the beta-2 agonists, when you use Clenbuterol. So these guys are using this combined to Clenbuterol in order to unlock the receptors and the saturation that comes out of Clenbuterol use.
Okay, so now this question makes a little more sense. So the gentleman would like to know, would taking Ketotifen every day along with Clenbuterol prevent the receptor saturation, or would you still recommend taking Clen 2 days on and 2 days off, even if taking Ketotifen with it?
Well, I prefer first to saturate my receptors and then afterwards use this drug just in case something happens. So every 48 hours, stop the drug in order to avoid the saturation and elevate gradually week after week, hit a plateau of, let's say, 100 micrograms or 120, which is 6 pills of the old-fashioned Clenbuterol from Bulgaria. And yes, afterwards you can use this Zaditen or Ketotifen,
Okay, cool. Good answer. Next one. How do people on steroids avoid prostatitis? I take a minimal dose of anything, and the next day my prostate is swollen. How would you even
Luxury
know?
prostatitis is not a result of BPH or DHT enlargement, prostatic enlargement through DHT. It's actually an inflammation coming from a bacteria. And actually, in most of the cases, it's E. coli, Escherichia coli, from anal intercourse, then goes to vaginal. But the point is through anus when you go, when you have anal sex with a woman,
Yeah.
the E. coli from the rectum goes into the urethra and then gives you prostatitis. This is how it goes.
God. So that's
Yeah.
how he's getting this prostatitis?
Yeah, most likely, yes, from
My
anal sex.
God. So anal sex, having anal sex with a woman can give you prostatitis?
Absolutely.
Oh my
It's
God.
really nasty because afterwards they have to cultivate prostatic fluid. You know how?
No.
They give you a rectal digital examination and they massage your prostate in order to produce some fluid.
Yeah.
Take the fluid, cultivate it, and give you the proper antibiotics. It's really nasty.
How would you even know if you had a swollen prostate? That's what I want to know. How would
But
you even?
you have problems with urination. Okay,
Okay.
the prostatic portion of the urethra is narrowed, and of course you have horrible pain during ejaculation, and then perhaps you have some fever. Okay, elevated white blood cells and neutrophils actually in the CBC. And after that, I had a case in my office. There's a guy who likes to pay prostitutes and go with super hot girls. Okay, and he told me, George, we did it from behind, without a condom, of course. And after 1 week, he couldn't urinate. He had pus in his penis. It is horrible. It's horrible.
Why would you see a prostitute and not use a condom? Come on. These women, they have sex with probably like 10 different guys every day. Oh, dude, that's disgusting. Anyway, so steroids do not. He thought.
No. It's not related to steroids. Definitely. Okay. Now, prostatic enlargement can occur. If the PSA may enlarge, is pseudo elevation by ejaculation within 24 hours, and also riding a bike, as I said, so doing spinning extensively.
Yeah.
Because those bikes have a very tiny. It's not like the motorcycle, which is
the seat is like it's
very
narrow.
Very tiny, and it kicks your prostate.
I have, because we have a stationary bike here, and I do cardio every once in a while, but I always worry because it's
a pain in the ass.
No, it gets numb. That whole area gets numb.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. And sometimes you have you have an erection out of nowhere.
No, that hasn't happened, but the numbness, that's creepy to have my freaking groin be numb. It's not a comfortable feeling. Here's a good one. Someone wants to know all about how to use Anavar. What's the best way to use oral Anavar? How long should one cycle last? Also, how long should we stop and wait before the next cycle?
Well, as I say, with 17 alkylate, they use them sublingually and according to the half-life. So most of the drugs have 8 to 9 hours half-life, or 6 perhaps with dianabol. So use them preferably every 8 hours, let's say 7, 3, and 11, to have them constantly in your system, okay? And make sure perhaps the second dose is pre-workout. Gotcha. Let's say 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
And like, how long would you stay on Anavar before you're worried about your?
For sure, you can stay for 30 days. So take 90 pills. Okay.
And then wait 90 days for your next cycle.
Well, it depends on your labs, mainly lipids and then liver with Anavar, because it's less liver toxin than the less of the 70 alkylated. But mostly watch out your H and LDL.
Yeah, and it's a good thing you said that, because some people are going to respond very differently. Like I talked to a guy last week he started on Clen, and within not even 2 weeks, his labs were going crazy and he had to stop.
I guess it was a legitimate trend then.
Oh,
even though it's not liver toxic classic as other compounds. Yeah. Going 400 milligrams and above will give you the standard deviations.
Cool. Okay, next one is a guy with an estrogen question. I'm a big converter in estrogen. I'm on TRT 100 milligrams a week, pinning microdose every day for blood stability. I want to use the minimum of aromatase inhibitors. What's your opinion on exmethasone versus anastrozole? Half-lives are different between both.
Well, it's hard likely for 100 milligrams to aromatize. So I want to see the sensitive estradiol, how much is it? Because just by saying I'm a easy converted to estrogen doesn't tell much. I need to work by evidence, you know. So giving an aromatase inhibitor to 100 milligrams, it could be not necessarily, you know. And I don't think that you're gonna have issues with 100 milligram of testosterone. So check out your sensitive E2. Perhaps you can check out also if you have elevated prolactin. But you can avoid the aromatase inhibitor by the use of proviron, by use DHT. You can also add some creatine or DIM, so supplements or zinc, you know, but I wouldn't dare to give an aromatase inhibitor. However, I prefer the anastrozole over the exemestane. Exemestane is way more potent and suicidal inhibitor. So the least dose could be a quarter of half a gram of the Arimidex, but not in that case. I want to see first the sensitive estradiol if it's high, and if you have symptoms also, okay? If you're symptomatic, if you have a pain in your nipple, if you have a lump already, then you need a serum. You don't need an aromatase inhibitor, you know? You just need tamoxifen in order to occupy the estrogen receptor.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I've stayed away from aromatase inhibitors. I told you I was about to start using them a couple of years ago, and Dr. O'Connor stopped me because I saw my blood labs and I saw how high my estrogen
Ron, you're
was.
using 400 milligrams are not less, you know, are not few, you know.
No?
It's a moderate amount to use it continuously, you know.
Yeah, well, a couple times a year I might go to 600 and then throw in a little bit of Deca, Equipoise, maybe even Tren if I'm feeling feisty. So yeah, that's why I'm not on TRT, guys. I never said I was on TRT.
Have you ever been off completely?
I have not for a long, the last time I didn't use any, not even a little bit of test was, wow, 15 years ago, maybe.
And for how long was that?
No, I'm sorry, wait, 2005, yeah, that was almost 15 years ago. So I went off for a year and a half because I wanted to see if my own testosterone production would return, and it didn't. And that's when I started TRT.
You felt lousy?
Yeah, I felt my sex drive was down, my energy was down, I was losing.
Your body composition sucked.
Yeah, I got a little softer, a little smaller. It sucked. Yeah, it sucked. And that's when Dr. Morgenthaler came into my life. Good times. Yeah. Next one. When is the best time of day to inject your testosterone? Can you take your dose of 200 to 250 milligrams test and anthate at once, or it must be split during the week?
Doesn't have any point to use necessarily in the morning or in the evening. If your first dose is in the evening, that means you're gonna wake up with the testosterone in your system the following day, but it doesn't make any difference. After a while, it's already in your system. Now, 250 is slightly elevated than the 200 milligrams, but anyway, this dose better to be split than used at once because it will spike on E2 and on DHT. So you're gonna have constant levels by using half a ml twice a week.
Yeah.
And what else?
That was it. He wanted to know if he could take it once or split it. So
yeah, twice, yes.
Next one's an A1C question. My A1C is always at the high normal, 5.6, but I eat very little sugar and I test my own blood sugar a couple times per week. Fasted A1C, and fasted is always under 90. So his blood sugar is always under 90. Fed is always under 120. How can I have such high A1C? My TRT dose is 200 milligrams per week.
Now, A1C sometimes is not reliable when you have anemia because erythrocytes are small and then the measurement doesn't work the same. But you have to know to be really good in serum morning glucose, you have to be below, not 90, but below 85 or 80, okay? Okay, yes, fasted, you have to be at 120 in 2 hours, actually. But the best blood sugar would be around 75 to 80, okay?
Yeah.
Below 70, it's you have shivering, you know, you have hypoglycemia.
Yeah.
So 70 to 80 is the optimal. Now, you have to know that the morning glucose reflects on the gluconeogenesis of the cortisol that wakes you up. So we wake up as our ancestors in order to go for food hunting. Okay, now gluconeogenesis throughout cortisol leads to hyperglycemia. So morning glucose sometimes could be elevated. Okay, if you're fasted from the dinner, you know, so it's 12 hours from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. That's why the post-meal serum glucose is more reliable. Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
And if you're really stressed, if you're really stressed and you're panicking, then glucogenolysis happens from the liver, and then liver pumps out glucose, and then if you become nervous, then you have elevation of glucose. That's why diabetic people who become really stressed have hyperglycemia and they need extra insulin.
Oh wow! I didn't know stress had that much of an effect on that.
Yes.
Wow. Winstrol. How does Winstrol dry out the joints? And is increasing the test dose the solution for this because of the extra estrogen?
By inhibiting, blocking aldosterone, which is the water retention hormone. That's why it's so effective pre-contest, because it doesn't give you any water retention. The injectable Winstrol, okay, is the injectable steroid with zero water retention. You know, you can use it and don't be a water. Even in the last week, some people do it if they're really dry. Because besides it doesn't aromatize. So the solution would be, yes, you can combine it with testosterone and DECA, that also they have aromatization activity, and also DECA kicks aldosterone. All right, but it's really risky to use Winstrol and during the off season while you're pushing heavy weights. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I never heard of too many people using it in the off season anyway. To me, it was always a pre-contest drug. I never heard of anyone using it.
Yeah, perhaps, you know, as anabolic stacking effect, but it wouldn't be so wise because you need to inject every other day.
True.
You're using long esters to the off season, you know.
Yeah. Winstrol. That's one thing I never used a lot of. I had Winstrol pills. I've never injected Winstrol in my life. A couple times I used it. It was
really painful.
Is it painful? Is it suspension? Is that why?
Yes. Milky Way.
I've seen it. It looked all milky. I was like, wow, it's crazy. Yeah, I saw the amps.
Some people drink it. Down the chain said you can drink it also.
Was the Zumba something? Was the old one?
Yeah, it's yucky.
Wow, this is a crazy question. This is going to be the best question of the show. Do steroids increase the risk of any type of cancer?
Yeah, of course, liver cancer. Come on, we know that.
Well, I mean,
liver orals. Come on, Andreas Munzer had already cancer when he competed.
I didn't know that. So I mean,
he has a large cyst in his liver. You know, perhaps it was Pelias hepatis, but I guess they're already developed cancer. Wow. I don't know if he had jaundice already, but it's certain that you can go to hepatoma with 17 alkylated, you know, nonstop. Wow. And combining different, like Anavar and dianabol together, you know, or M3 or halotestin. Crazy. Yeah. Now about kidneys, it's less, you know, it's less common to have Wilms tumor in kidney. Now the thing about Alzedo, you remember this?
Alzedo.
Yeah. There are some speculation that he had HIV. He was HIV, and then he had some lymphoma. You know.
Yeah.
So brain tumor is not related to, as far as I know, with brain cancer. You know, right? With steroids. Neither testicular cancer, I would say. Wow. But liver, yes, because especially with the orals.
Wow. So alcohol would be the same thing because alcohol is tough on your liver.
Yeah, but through different mechanisms, cirrhosis.
That's why you get cirrhosis. Okay. Yeah. Also, horrible way to die. I've seen.
George Best was a famous soccer player in Ireland. He died at 59 with a liver transplant, and he quit soccer at 27. He was the greatest talent that the UK produced ever made. Yes. Wow. And he was a heavy drinker. He had a liver transplant in his 50s, and then he started drinking again.
You know? He died of cirrhosis?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
During his last days, he regretted it, of course.
Sure, yeah. Final question. My son is in his late teens and works out all the time. I overheard him talking to his friends, and I think he's considering the use of AAS, anabolic androgenic steroids. What should I say to him?
Well, first of all, everybody, we're talking about adults. He has to go from puberty into adulthood, okay? After he's 18.
Yeah.
Second of all, he has to be educated by the literature about steroids. Bill Llewellyn's book, Connor's book, my book, listen to the shows, become educated.
Mhm.
Third, he had to find a good reason in order to start using them, unless he's not talented or he wants to compete, or I don't know, he's a doorman, he's a bodyguard, he's a go-go boy, he's a stripper, he's whatever, he's a fashion model.
Beach boy.
Yeah, no beach boy, but you really have to find a good reason to justify this use, not just for the sake of vanity to sleep with some girls, you know? And final, and most important, you have to find a reliable doctor, an open-minded, in order to watch out and follow your labs, your echocardiogram, your CT scan, or whatever. Okay.
Good luck. Good luck with that. I mean, yeah, you're a very progressive doctor, George, and you monitor patients. I'm sure there's a lot of doctors in the US who they want nothing to do with that. If I said, I'm using steroids, I want you to monitor my health, they'd be like, nope, nope, nope. Go somewhere else. Go to
But
another doctor.
yeah, the point is demonizing is really easy. It's just like with smoking. The point is how to handle the situation if somebody doesn't want to change his habits for his own personal reasons. I cannot cut smoking. You know, I'm really addicted to it. I'm really stressed, or I don't want to smoke. I want to die of smoking. So how can you make his life easier in that?
Yeah.
If you cannot help, then step aside. You know.
Yeah.
And there are people who are willing to help. So I had this discussion with a colleague of mine, and he told me, unfortunately, you have to cut smoke. Okay, to stop smoking is the easier word than to put this X, you know. But you have to take NAC, vitamin C, you know, and watch out your immune system, the upper respiratory, if you want to be a heavy smoker. Okay.
That's a good analogy. I never thought of somebody who wants to keep smoking who would monitor their health like that. I never thought that was even a thing.
Yes, because NAC is a major it's a major antioxidant of the lungs, you know, and also ascorbic acid helps you against viral infections. So you have to keep your respiratory tract clean, you know, and less vulnerable to the bronchitis and whatever. The same goes with steroids. You know, if you want to use steroids, you have to watch out mainly your cardiovascular system, and then your liver, and then your vital organs, your kidneys also. These are the three main organs. Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
And by the way, the heart and the brain kill you in a heartbeat. You cannot even say goodbye.
Yeah. Bad times. Yeah, I mean, I think if you try to discourage someone if they've got their mind made up to do something like steroids, they're going to do it anyway.
Do it the right way, at least.
Right. So, I mean, that's one of the values of this show is you can't just tell people don't use steroids. A lot of people, they're going to use them anyway, and you're giving them safer options. You're trying to keep them healthy. You know, you're saying don't do this, take these supplements. Trying to keep these people as healthy as you can while they're doing that.
Even you have to know how to inject yourself, because many people give embolisms to themselves, you know.
Yeah.
They start coughing, you know, and they give abscess because they don't use proper alcohol solution, you know. They just inject on the pants, you know. Well, so it's crazy.
Did you see that video of Boston Lloyd years ago? He actually injected through his sweatpants. Didn't even take the pants off. I'm like, come on, go take the pants down. Or drop the needle on the ground and pick it right back up and stick it in. Yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff. I even knew someone who dropped a bottle. It broke. It was a bottle of Winstrol or Deca. I don't know what it was. He sat there on the floor with the syringe and sucked it all back up and put it into another empty bottle. And of course, he got an infection. Yeah, it was on the floor. The oil was all over the floor, and he sucked it back up with a syringe and put it back into another bottle.
Well, the most extreme thing I've ever done was not to miss the protein. So I was eating a sandwich and a piece of Solomon dropped down the floor. So I took it and have a bite again.
Oh, that's
But-
okay. You don't know about
Yeah.
the 3-second rule? If it's on the
No.
floor for less than 3 seconds, it's fine.
Anyway,
Unless you drop it in like some dog crap or something. Anyway, another great show, Doctor. Appreciate it so much. You're one of the only places in the world on YouTube where people can ask these kind of questions and get real medical answers from an actual medical doctor who is a champion bodybuilder too. I can't even think of any other.
yeah, this was the dream of a lifetime, to become one day the doctor of the bodybuilding community and help the others, you know?
And you're doing it. You've been doing an amazing job. This is
I'm doing what I love, you know, and I couldn't think of myself being a regular doctor in any other field, you know,
yeah,
since I serve this sport.
cool, man.
By the way, I'm thinking about to combine my books in one larger book.
Oh boy. Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna call it the Bible, just like in the Greek. But I'm waiting for a little bit of time, because in the MD from September, I'm gonna have my column as Ask Dr. T Q&As. So I'm gonna add some questions that I answer written, and I'll put them perhaps in the book later.
Yeah, I would do a big section called frequently asked questions.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
because we come across the same questions over and over and over again.
Mhm.
You've answered 1,000 questions on this, but I
I
bet.
believe we broke the 1,000 barrier. Yes.
Oh yeah, and I guarantee you, there's been a lot of repeat questions. A lot of people have the same issues around the
And you
world.
know what? We have a show that hit the 5,000 views, the 50,000 views.
Hmm.
And you know, was the one that we talk about the cycle.
What did we talk
We,
about?
we analyzed the bulking and the cutting cycles.
Yeah,
I think it was just before the Olympia last year.
dude. If we do a show and just call it trend, it would get 100,000 views. Trend. Oh, they love the trend. Anyway. All right, doctor. Thank you so much, guys. Go to Amazon.com, get his books. Check out the website, gtoul.com. Plenty of articles and information there too. And of course, you can see the doctor every month in Muscular Development, the last bodybuilding print magazine, in his column there. And that's it. Thank you so much, doctor, for taking the time, sharing your experience and your education with all these people around the world who really, really need it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching Ask Dr. Testosterone. We'll see you next time.